For this video, we're going to be talking about solving equations. For pretty much all of our equations, these are our 5 steps to distribute, to combine like terms, to move variables, to add or subtract, and to multiply or divide. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by distributing. And when we're talking about distribution, we're always going to be looking for our parentheses. Anytime we see parentheses, we want to get rid of them. So we're going to look first at the number that's right in front of the parentheses. And the parentheses just tell us to multiply the number that's in front of them to the terms that are inside of our parentheses. So we're going to take this 10 and we're going to multiply it to this x and to this 3. As we can see here, there's no number right in front of our x. So anytime that's the case, there's always going to be an invisible 1. So 10 times 1 is just 10, and we're going to bring down that x next to it. Then we're also going to do 10 times 3, which is 30, and we're going to bring that down. Over here, we have another set of parentheses with a negative 10 in front. So we're going to take that negative 10 and do the same thing and multiply it to both terms inside of the parentheses. Right here, we can see we have a negative sign in front of this x. And just like over here, this means that there's a negative 1 in front of that x. So if we take negative 10, we're going to multiply it to that negative 1. And the two negatives, when we multiply them, cancel each other out. So it gives us positive 10. And we're bringing down that x next to it as well. Then negative 10 times 1 is just going to be negative 10. All of the other numbers that we see in this equation, all of the other terms, we're just going to bring down. So I'm bringing down this 10 directly underneath it. I'm going to bring down this equal sign, and I'm going to bring down this negative x. That is our first step of distribution, so we finished that step completely. Our next step is to combine like terms. When we're talking about like terms, all we're talking about is what the endings of these terms, if they're the same, we're going to combine them. For example, on this left side of our equation, we have 10, 10x, and 30. 10x ends in an x, but 10 and 30 do not end in x's. They're just numbers, they're just constants, so those are like terms, so we're going to combine them. When we combine them, we can pretty much always just add them together. So 10 plus positive 30 is going to give us 40. And then we're going to look over here on this right side of our equation, and we're going to look for the same thing. We have negative x, 10x, and negative 10. On this side, this negative 10 doesn't have an x at the end, so it's not a like term to negative x or positive 10x. But since these both end in the same things, they both end in x's, we can combine them. And just like up here, this negative x is a negative 1 because there's an invisible 1 right in front. So negative 1 plus 10 is going to give us a positive 9, and we're just going to bring down the x right there next to it. Just like we did for the first step, we're going to bring down everything else that we didn't use. We didn't use this 10x, so I'm going to bring that right down next to the 40. I'm going to bring down our equal sign, and we didn't use this negative 10, so I'm going to bring that right down next to the negative 9. And that is our second step of combining like terms. Moving on to our third step of moving variables, we're going to look at where we have variables. Variables are pretty much just our letters or symbols that aren't represented by numbers. So we have 10x over here and 9x on this side of our equation. And we want to combine them together and put all of our x's together on one side. We can move the 10 or we can move the 9. It depends on what is your preference. My preference is usually to move the smaller number to the larger number. So this 9x is smaller than 10, so I'm going to move it right now. It is a positive 9x. So the opposite of positive would be negative or subtraction. So I'm just going to subtract that over there. The reason why I'm subtracting it to the 10 is because it's a like term and it has the same ending. It has an x. We can't subtract it to the 40 because the 40 doesn't have an x. These cancel each other out, and over here, that's just going to give us a 1x. So that's pretty much our third step, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring down everything else. I'm going to bring down that 40 we didn't use yet. This is a positive 1x, so I'm going to put a positive sign or a plus sign, And we didn't use the negative 10, so I'm going to bring down that negative 10 as well. Now for our third step is we're going to add or subtract. Right now we have a whole number, a number with a variable or term, and then another whole number. But there's nothing else on this side of our equation. So if we decide to move this negative 10 to this side of our equation, there'll be nothing left on this side of the equal sign, which is going to give us a problem. So we know that we'll have to move this 40 over. Another way that I like to remember it is I'm going to look and find where our letter is in our equation, and whatever other number is on that side of our equation, we want to get it away. We want the letter to be the last thing that stays by itself. So we're trying to get everything away from this x. So since this 40 is on the same side of our equal sign with that x, we're going to move that 40 first. And like I said up here, this 40 is positive, so the opposite of positive is negative or subtraction. So I'm going to subtract that 40 to the other side. This negative 10 doesn't have a letter, and neither does the 40, so they're like terms, and we can combine them. Negative 10 minus 40 is negative 50, and I'm going to bring down everything else in that equation that we didn't use, the equal sign and the 1x. So that is our fourth step. And our final step is to multiply or divide. So we're going to look at how our number is held onto our variable. Right now, our number, anytime a number and a letter are right next to each other, that means they're being multiplied together. So we're going to take a look, and whatever the opposite of multiplication is that's how we're going to separate them. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 1 to both sides. So these ones cancel out, and negative 50 divided by 1 is still going to be negative 50. All I'm going to do now is bring down our equal sign and our x, and that's going to be our last step. We finally have our letter by ourselves that equals just a number by itself. So our final answer is x equals negative 50. And if we wanted to check our work, we could write down this original equation, and anytime we see x's, we can plug in the negative 50 to see if this side of our equation is also going to equal that side of our equation, and it should work.